GM, 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 GM. So daily levels. Let's go. Actually, I should be over here on the other chart for BTC. Check here. There we go. These different levels drawn on that one. Maybe it's the. There we go. Right. So where are we at now? Bitcoin just chilling, compressing in a bullish pennant right beneath all time highs, and people are scared. It's funny. I sort of get it, but there's so much PTSD showing. It's crazy. Um, have you noticed? And I guess you probably will have noticed this, but instead of just uh, being long and allowing the market to go up, I see much more of people online talking about warning, red flags. Oh no, this gives me concern. But the thing is, I've been seeing that all the way up, and they're still doing it. And so now it's a new thing, right? Before it was funding rates are too high, then everything kept ripping anyway. Then it was old coins are pumping, right? Like Litecoin's pumping, Bitcoin Cash is pumping. Then it was meme coins are pumping, as if this all means that we have to just end and crash and go to zero. I think context is needed here, right? And what I mean by that is I want to show two things, right? I want to show Bitcoin with a different chart. Let me get the higher time frame chart, take off all the indicators and everything, go to a weekly, zoom it out, and let's look back, right? There's two periods I want to look at. First one being the start of the bull of last cycle, and then the start of the second rally here. And what we're going to look at here is we're going to put Bitcoin up top and then show stuff like Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash are two shitty old coins that people think whenever they pump, it's bad. And I just don't think that's the case. Plain and simple. I think people are trying to. This always happens. Right? I don't know, like how long you've been. Depending on how long you've been around, you'll know this or you'll not know this. It doesn't matter what people do. There's always some people that when Bitcoin gets close to all time high, they psyop themselves out of their position. They find a reason to sell. They find a reason to be bearish when there's no need to, right? So the thing I'm seeing most on my feed today, or the last week or so on Twitter is, first of all, meme coins are pumping. Cool, all right. People think that that's bad because they think that meme coins have to pump last, and they just have to pump last, and that's it. And I just counter that and say that's not true. They don't have to, right? That the market doesn't have to do anything just because you think it should because it did before. That's complete horseshit. So first of all, we got that. Secondly, they're looking at stuff like this, right? So here we are, and we've got Bitcoin Cash with a big pump. We've got Litecoin, the big pump, like air quotes, big pumps, right? And of course, Bitcoin's already been pumping. So I say, well, when that happens, when Bitcoin Cash pumps, when Litecoin pumps, we go down. It's over. But how is it over? Here's a big pump on Bitcoin Cash in a week where Bitcoin had a big pump and Litecoin also had a big pump. And what was it? A local top. We pulled back and then ripped high. But even if you go back and just look at areas where it's not clearly even a top, like you just look at in general, there's plenty of weeks here like this one where Litecoin had a massive pump, and weeks like this one where Bitcoin Cash had a massive pump, and like weeks like this, like there's a bunch of them. You go all the way through Litecoin, especially here, like on the way back up in the second leg, right? After this week here, I remember this. Bitcoin Cash pumped really hard. Litecoin pumped really hard. People said it was all over. Went sideways, went higher again. Then we had the sell off. Then we had the second move. Then there was a final pump. But on that pump, Bitcoin Cash didn't even pump, right? The actual top of the market, I don't know if you can see this, right? The actual top of the market in November 2021, Bitcoin Cash didn't even pump. Litecoin did. So is there any validity to say that Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash pumping equals end of market? No. There's zero. How about this instead? How about just forgetting about everything being a top signal and understanding that Bitcoin is here? That's where Bitcoin is. Can we pull back? Yes. Can we have a few weeks of pullback? Yes. Can we do this? Sure. It doesn't mean that we can't pull back. But if you're sitting in spot, there is absolutely zero reason for you to touch your bags. And I'm saying this really clearly because some people are going to fumble. They're going to fumble their bags. They're going to sell and thinking that they'll buy back lower or that, oh, it's looking a bit, all the top signals there. There's no fucking top signals. There's none. There might be like low time frame. Is it more likely we pull back after Bitcoin Cash does a big pump? Sure, maybe. But that's very, as I just showed, like that's very flimsy data. Also, take the full context, right? Go to, Bitcoin Cash, right? The context of the market cycle as well. Look at the chart, right? It's not as if it's at 2020, 2017 or 2021 extremes. It's actually just in a multi-year lengthy bottoming range. And this is what Bitcoin Cash does. Look, it pumped in June and then consolidated really nicely, by the way. This is actually like a fucking textbook compression consolidation for months, right? And then has pumped out of it. That's just like 101 absolute textbook price action. So, no, the market's not going to go to zero because Bitcoin Cash pumped or Litecoin, right? I mean, people are using this as a top signal. When Litecoin pumps, no. When Litecoin's like that, sure. When Litecoin's like double top or lower high bounce, sure, that's not great. When Litecoin's like this, you're like, it's not even near resistance. If I actually have alerts set myself, when Litecoin goes above resistance there, right? If we see 3-4 more weeks like that, and I see that, that could be a local top, absolutely, because Litecoin's a piece of shit. But it just doesn't seem to be to me. But what will happen soon is we'll have some kind of pullback, because we always do, right? The market just goes up, and then people will say, "See, Litecoin's the top again." No, it wasn't, because if this is like Bitcoin, and then it's the air quotes top, and it does that, that's not a top, right? It's a pullback. If this is like 40k, this is 65, this is 55, and that's all-time high. Well done. You managed to what? You managed to fudge yourself out of your bags right before all-time high. So BTC, it's funny, like, to me, 2020 is the closest kind of analogy I see to this. This sort of area, and not I don't mean like price action wise, I mean sentiment wise, this kind of area here before the previous all-time high, not just because the price is there, but because of sentiment too. That's how it seems at the moment to me. It feels a little bit like that, where a lot of people think that, oh, like, are we here? Is it late? It's not. It's really not. Nothing points towards that, either from a sentiment perspective or any of the data. But I do think there's a couple things. Like there's a bunch of people who expect a shakeout before all-time high because, oh, it's like November 2020. And there's a bunch of people who just want to buy lower. Like I really struggle to see how this goes any lower than, maybe just sweeping this low, if even. There's so many people who want to buy. I mean, all-time high is a free trade, right? That's what people think. If it goes to 55, won't everyone just load up and ride it to 70 for like the easiest free trade of your life? 25% just free money, thank you. It's quite likely to lock people out. I think it's a shutout rally. I just think that if you're long, spot long, you're chilling. If you're adding longs on perps, do it sensibly whenever there's some kind of reset, and otherwise, sit back and enjoy the show. But I wanted to make today's video. I'll do weekly outlook live later, and that's going to be a great one. Don't miss that. Got some good things lined up for it. But I wanted to be really clear about this whole XYZ coin is pumping, therefore it's bad. I don't see it. I don't see it personally. Of course, like this is the other thing. The people who say it, you're not a genius. Because when SHIB looks like this, right, and Pepe looks like this, of course there's going to be a pullback eventually. So you're not like a genius for saying that. Anyway. With SHIB, looking at some of the meme coin pullbacks, and I was looking at the 50 and there we go. SHIB pullback touches 50, consolidating below the bands. Pepe had a really nice move. Pepe might be going for a breakout. It's reclaimed its all-time high level. I'll be looking at that for a potential trade. Might be worth picking up some. Might be worth picking up some Pepe again. It's definitely the strongest of the memes, and it's got that momentum, and it's back above all-time high. I think it's a pretty easy. I think it's a pretty easy trade to take with Pepe. That you just bet that this is an all-time high flip, right? We pushed above it, back below it, back above it again, and just say that it doesn't go to like 42. I would run quite a tight stop, probably just below the 1 hour bands. And I think I will trade it long. I'll trade it on the long side with that in mind. Whether I'll just see. The funding rate is quite high though. I'd like to maybe just buy some spot. We'll see. I'll decide after. But Pepe looks good out of those ones. Doge, big flush. And weakness. Relative weakness. I think Whiff is quite good as well. Yeah, Whiff had a really nice shakeout and held up. Whiff probably stronger than Doge at the moment. Whiff doesn't look like it's going to go higher right away though. I think just based on how I've seen these in the past, I think it's like going to consolidate for a bit, then go. I feel like there's a little bit of sideways needs to come, whereas Pepe is kind of ready to go almost immediately. And Bonk. Yeah. Bonk a bit weaker. So some of those need to go sideways and have the resets. Now Bonk's bottom is almost certainly in with that long wick. The bottom's almost certainly in on Bonk. I guess it's probably come back to the 100. Yeah. So it's just consolidating at the 100 instead. It's just typically in the strong uptrend, they don't tend to pull back that deep. It went all the way to the 200 as well. That doesn't tend to set up a new leg. That tends to be a move that can bring us back up to the highs, but then we have to come back down, then you go sideways and take it out and all this, and then it goes, right? Usually these fast trends don't pull back that deep. However, the fact that it did and the fact that it had a 34% pullback, if you remember, I talked about yesterday wanting to see some of these alts having the stab lower. Wherever I said it, the memes, there we go. They're going close to the market. We'll start to bid them again. Got the stab lower. There you go. So any of those memes that you were eyeing up, well, now's a better time to buy them than yesterday, right? And you're only trading in probabilities anyway, so that's all we can do. Anyway, that's it. GM. See you later on the live stream.